someone tell me that they had y equaled x plus 0.2. I had someone say, I just had y equaled x. All of these would be correct. What I'm going to look for on the test is where's your y-intercept. Now the one that I drew up here, this blue line, it's almost at 0, 0. I had some people when they had their line, it crossed up here at 0.2. I had some people that it crossed down below, right? So depending on where you drew your line, that's what I'm going to look at. If you send it to the printer, it should be okay. So all you have to do, so if you had y equaled 1x or you had one of these equations, okay? And remember, this is an estimate, so you can use y equals x. This question, it says use your equation. So y equals, instead of 1x, we're going to put, instead of x, we're going to put 2.5. 2.5 was your height. You are asked for your arm span. We'd say it's 2.5 meters for our arm span. They are almost the same for most of you, right? Where if you spread your arms out and you go from fingertip to fingertip and you look at your height, they're almost exactly the same, which is what happened, right? This person 1.7, this one was taller than the arm span, some of them were shorter, right? This one says this is your arm span, it's 2.2. So you go to y equals x, but instead of y, you're going to put in 2.2 equals x. So that means x is that this person was 2.2 meters tall. That's their height. This question, there wasn't a lot of using the equation. If the person is 1.4 meters tall, what do we think the arm span is going to be? Should be, if we're looking at this, if y equals x, and they just told us that the x is 1.4, that means y equals 1.4 meters for our arm span. It should be exactly the same. Now, the only people who might be different is if I was looking at this equation and you had this one, right? Then it's going to be 2.7, right? And this one is going to be, instead of 2.2, it would have been 2.0. And this one, instead of 1.4, it would have been 1.6, right? Because you're adding 0.2 on each time, right? Or you're subtracting 0.05 each time. Did it not print? It did? Let's check. I think that was there from before. How do we do that one? Just go up from what? 10, right? And go across that we are looking. As you take a look at the next question, if you have not plotted your points, please plot the points on this question. So as we plot our points, turn. At 1, you are at 21, right? So plot yours open to this page. Okay. So I am drawing it. Does it make sense to go through 0, 0 for my line? No. So when I take this line and draw this, I might be thinking, you know, this kind of looks like half my points are above or below. Where does it look like our y-intercept is? About what? 16, 17. So B, I take 16, I take 17, I take 18. Someone had their line drawn and they had it going directly through 20, right? I could see that they had this line. If I'm looking at your lines, I need to be able to see your y-intercept, okay? So right now, we are going to use 17 back here. Next thing you want to do is on your line, and we're going to go to the green line, we need to find the slope. So on your test on Wednesday, you're going to look for the change in y divided by the change in x. So if I go to 1 on my graph, at 1, it looks like if I'm looking at my graph, I can see at 1 it's at 20. So I have the point 1, 20. And if I go to 6.5, it looks like it's about at 40. So 6.5 at 40. Probably closer to 45 if I'm looking at that. And I might even go, this point is even better. At 6, it's right at 40. So if I have 640 and 120, remember, the change in y, 40 minus 20 gives us how much? 20. 6 minus 1 gives us 5. So we have 20 divided by 5. So we can have 4 for a slope. Did anyone have 4.5 from your points when you did it? I had some people in the other class with 5, with 17. I would take any of these answers, right? because your equation is from your line. So they're all going to be unique. So, part B says, predict 6 hours. And on the test, I will say, use your equation. If I don't say use your equation, easiest way to do it is go up to the graph, go to 6, and go across. So if I say use my equation, and we are going to use this equation with the 4. Tell me what I should do, Sam. Y equals what?
Y equals
4. What is my x value for the hours? 6 plus 17. 24 plus 17. What's our words per minute that we came out?
41.
So y is going to be equal to 41 words per minute. The question on the test, I want you to put this one down right now. What if you can type 60 words per minute? The question I want to know is, how many hours did you practice? So 60 words per minute, is that my x or is that my y? In our graph, that's my y. So y equals 60. So using this equation that we circled up here, tell me, Chastity, what am I going to write down? If I go to my original equation, right, 4x plus 17. What? Do I want to go 4 times 60? No. The y is 60, right? So I agree you're going to kind of be dividing it by 4, but first we got to do something first. And in this case, if I'm solving, Chloe, what do you have to do first to get the 4x by itself? We're going to minus 17. So once I've done that, Cole, I'm going to take 60 minus 17 and left with 43 is equal to 4x. And if I continue solving that, Rachel, in order to get x, I'm going to do what? Divide both sides by 4. And in this case, this person was practicing 10 what? Or was it? Yeah, 10.75 hours, right? So on the test, I'm going to ask you to use your equation. So you just got to make sure you're understanding how to use your equation when you look at that. So let's look at 10 through 10, 11, 12, 13 as you look at those questions. As you are looking at those, so 10, tell me the words you might use. Start us off, Brooke.
Negative.
Okay, so negative. Next word we might use, Jamie, would be? Weak. I would take either weak or strong with this one. And in a way, I almost think it's more strong than weak. What other word, Mara? Linear, nonlinear? Probably linear. And the reason I say that it is strong is because if I am taking this straight edge, and I thought I had a straight line tool, and if I am taking my straight edge and I go from the point up here to here, I mean, all those points are really pretty close to one line. The other word I might be looking for, Nathaniel, is what else? Yeah, I have some clusters, right? So when you're doing these on your test, that's kind of how I'm going to look at those. All right, Camden, if we look at that next one, give me one of the words that you might want to use.
Positive.
Say, what was it?
Positive.
Positive. Aiden? Nonlinear. And again, could we show the line of nonlinear? Yes. It's going to kind of be this curve as we are looking at it, right? All right, as we are looking, Andrew, what else besides nonlinear? Yeah, we've got a cluster right down in here, right? As we are looking at that. And strong or weak? If we are looking, what do you think, Lily?
I'd say strong.
I'd say strong too as we're looking at this one. All right, looking at that next one, Grace. Anything for us? Any words you want to use? Probably very weak, right? Anything else, Faith?
Negative.
Negative. it's really not linear or nonlinear, right? It's really no relationship. There's really no correlation. And if you wanted to tell me linear and you kind of drew a line down the middle, I'd probably give you credit for being linear. But you could have also had no correlation.
Could it be non-linear with outliers?
So could you have nonlinear with outliers? Yeah, because you could do kind of almost like this, right? And then this would be an outlier. I would take that also, okay? So just, if you're saying nonlinear, you just got to kind of show what it looks like. Does that make sense? Okay, Micah, how about that last one? What are some words you might use?
Linear.
Linear. And Addie, what else?
Positive.
Positive. And Alexis?
Strong.
Strong. Anything else that we could use? And again, probably showing that nice straight line. Taking your straight edge, or especially on the test on Wednesday, and drawing that line. All right. So, by the row relative frequency, that means you want to have the same table, men, women, total. And above that, you are going to have dance, sports, TV, total. And behind the total way at the back here, what do I know every number has to be? This total in this column. What does every one of those relative frequencies have to be? They're not going to be percents. We're going to keep them as decimals. But if I am looking at the number of men for the relative frequency, I'm taking 2 and dividing it by 20, right? I get 0.1. I take 10 and divide it by 20. I get 0.5. I take 8 and divide it by 20. I get 0.4. And this number back here has to be 1.0 all the way down. Because the next row of women, we are dividing everything by 30. If you haven't done this, write this down with us. You should be doing it. So we are taking a look at the women if we are looking at this. And as I look at that women, we should be having, as we do our division, what are we looking at, Olivia? What'd you get? And we'll come back to you, Treasure. What'd you get? 16 divided by 30. The rest of you be ready, have your calculator, so if I call on you. We're looking at, did you get it yet? Olivia, what do you got? Point. Okay, we did the 0.1, so now we're doing the women. 16 divided by 30. We're looking at point, over half of it, right? 0.5. Say it one more time. 553, probably, if we're looking at it. Ellen, what do you got for the next one? 0.2. Keep going, Gus. What'd you get for the next one? 8 divided by 30. Take out your calculator, punch it in. Be ready if we're looking. I know this last one's going to be 1.0, so I don't have to ask that. And I know this one's going to be 1.0. The rest of you keep dividing. Go. 0.26 repeating. Could I have 0.27? Yes. The reason I might want to put 2.27 is, what do you notice when we do row relative frequency? All three of these have to add to 1. So 0.53, 0.2, and 0.27, if I add those together, they add to 1.0. So we are looking, Treasure, what did you get for this first one? 18 divided by 50 gave us 0.36. Usually relative frequency in a table we put as a decimal. Okay? So if we are continuing, Kaylee, what'd you have? Point. Careful, you're going to divide 16 on your calculator by 50. There's calculators in front. You can grab one. We'll wait for you. I know. People that were for it, how many? 25 divided by 50. They don't ask us for a decimal here. So we had 0.5, right? But our answer is 50%. For the explain, this is your explaining, right? Because you're showing me this. What'd you get for that one up here? 4. When you took 16 and divided it by 50? 0.32. And the next one is the same. And if I would add 0.36, 0.32, and 0.32, they should add to almost 1. They might be off sometimes by just a little as you are looking at those. Okay, so that's what we want to be looking at. So on the test, the same thing when you look at these. All right, question 16 as we take a look at. So Cole, we are looking at what percentage of accidents can attributed to 17 to 25-year-old in the age group of all of drivers. What should we be dividing by? What is all of our drivers? How many did they survey? 323. So then, Rachel, how many are we talking about had accidents from 17 to 25? 78. So on your calculator, please divide. So this is the work when I ask you to show me how you got it. Don't just put that percent, put this one. So 78 divided by 323. What'd you get, Brooke? Do you have a calculator? No? Okay, we'll wait for you. All right, let's start looking at 27. Jamie, we're going to start filling in the table on 27. Let's go under our totals. What are we missing? 26 males. Then let's go over to our total here that we're France. And what are we missing, Mara? 17. And if I know that 17, Nathaniel, what can I find for females in France then? 2. And if I know that 18 were in Spain total, what do I know, Camden, about the males? I'm finding this one. Has to be 9, right? And so now I can find these other numbers pretty nicely. So if we are looking, Sam, you want to fill in my last 2 for Germany, should be?
23.
Yep, and 2 right below it. Yep. What'd you get, Brooke, for that percentage? Say it one more time. 24%, right? And if I ask you to show me, that would be your work, okay? As we look at that last page, the last page, you will be asked on the test to make one of these, kind of like here where you're just filling it in. So, I don't care if you put MP3 player on the top and no MP3 player. Pen is just partly working. No MP3. And total. Gus, write with us. I'm helping you out here. I'm trying to give some of you an answer as you're looking at this, so you're ready for the test. And then we have our cell phones, and we have no cell phone, and we have our total. And as we read the problem, we want to fill in as much information. So the first thing they tell us is that they surveyed people at our school, and we want to fill in as much as we can. So, starting us off, Andrew, first statement. What can we put in? Where are we putting the 78?
Phone and no MP3.
So cell phone. So it says he found 78 students own a cell phone. Just that information. Where do we want to put that? So I know it's going to be under my cell, right? It's going to be the total. That's my 78. Okay. So Aiden, what else do I want to put in there? And then it says, and 57 of those students own MP3 players. So where's my 57 going? Okay. So now I'm going to keep going with that one. And as I am looking, Ellen, tell me, where am I putting my 13? Okay. No cell MP3. And then the last one says 9 students have neither. So Gus, I'm putting that where? No and no. And now we want to fill in. So 57 plus 13, if we're adding Olivia, we end up with 70. And then we have 78 minus 57. Treasure, what do we get up here? 21. And 21 and 9, Alexis, gives us 30. Oh, that's pretty nice. If I would have asked the questions, how many people they surveyed, you could have said 100, right? So if we have 78 from 100, we should be looking at adding how much? 22. As we start that next one, Faith, you want to start us off? What do we know?
150 is the total.
Total, 150, right? Next thing, Micah, we know what?
We know that 71 people are in total for swimming.
71 total swimming. Jordan, you ready to give us the next number where you're going to put it? 62?
Yeah, total canoeing.
Total canoeing. Okay. Jamie, what now? What else do we know? Where are our 28 going? Okay. So we're going to fill in our missing ones, right? So, subtracting from 150, the 71 and 62. I should be looking at 88 here, right? 150 minus 71 gives me 79. 28 from 71 gives us 43. So you're going to be asked to do it very similar to this on the test where you have to find all these missing ones. 62 subtracting 28 is going to give us 34 people. 88 minus 43 is going to give us a 45. We want to write 3 statements. So when you give me your statements on the test, I'm going to look for a percentage. Okay? So before that, you might tell me the numbers that you're dividing. So when I take a look at this table here about the swimmers, I might look at some numbers that you're dividing. Someone want
19.
So your statement that you might tell me on the test might be 19% what? Of all the campers
Are in swimming and canoeing.
19% of all the campers went canoeing and swimming. Someone give me another statement. Thank you for doing that. Exactly what we were looking at. Give me another one. Someone else tell me 2 numbers you're dividing and what does it mean? Yes.
45 divided by 150.
45 divided by 150 gave us what percent?
30 or 30.
How much?
30.
30. Okay, I thought you said 30% what?
Of all of the campers didn't go swimming or canoeing.
30% of the campers did not swim or canoe, right? Let's do one of just the people canoe. You want to get one for either the people canoeing or swimming or not swimming? What do you want to do? Cool.
Hold on.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I was thinking of something and now I don't know what you're asking of me.
You want to give me one more percentage?
Well, then, alright. The 34 people who are not swimming canoeing over the total amount of people who are swimming.
So 34 out of 79, right? So 34 out of 79. When I take a look at that 34 over 79, what percent did you get?
43%.
43% of all people, or all campers, right? Not swimming. Were what? Were canoeing, right? Does that make sense when you give me your 3 statements? So on the test, very similar to that. I am going to be looking that you tell me, show me the percent that you're dividing, and when you give those statements, that's what I'm looking at. And you're telling me out of which number, that tells us if it's all campers or which one you are looking at, okay? Or to a power. So multiplying x to the m raised to the nth power, that is going to be when you multiply m times n. And when you divide x to the m over x to the n, that's when you subtract the m and the n. So no negative exponents. Anything to the 0 power is always, anything to the 0 is 1, right? So kind of a refresher on those exponent rules. Next year in algebra, we're actually kind of doing this at the same point in time. You're okay? Okay, good. So, solving equations, this is your systems. Remember, when you get systems, you have to have an ordered pair. It's an x, y that you are looking for, that point of intersection. Pythagorean theorem, you have to draw this on the test. You have to, it'll say exactly the same thing on the test. Write the congruent statement, and you have to tell me how you got it. And I had someone say, oh, I just did a rotation. Well, you had to do more than a rotation. So I need both steps when you are doing that, okay? So